some thoughts on that. So, I think it's been expressed that this institution has impacted everyone's lives in many different ways. And what has been great for me to come here and speak to all of you or experience this is that for many years while I was gone living my life, I felt like this place was sort of like a dream that didn't really happen. And one of my favorite movies is the movie Blade Runner from the 80s. And in the movie, Rutger Hauer says, "I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on the fires off the shoulders of Orion. I watch sea beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate. All those moments." And he says that as the character's about to expire. He's a robot who's been programmed, but he's talking about the life and the vision that he's had. And that resonates with me because I've tried to recount stories of this place to people. And when I tell them what happened, about 65 students who lived together in an old hotel in Illinois with very little supervision. Besides Declan, who was on the internet. He was over there inventing the internet, I think. And one of the stories that I told is like I go into his office and he's like, there's this thing on his desk, and then this thing he's like typing on, and all of a sudden I hear. I'm like, what's that? And he picks up the phone and he puts it down on something and he goes, "This is the internet." I'm like, "What is that?" He's like, "It's a way to communicate with other people through this box." And I'm like, "That looks pretty cool." So anyways, I've tried to explain this place to people, and when I do, their eyes kind of glaze over, because if you weren't here, you just don't get it. But I would like to recount a few of the memories that are fond in my mind. I remember, and this gets back to the art, I think we were very fortunate to be surrounded by incredibly talented artists in their field who were generous enough to pass on whatever they had learned themselves to us. So here are some of my fondest memories, and this has to do with the art side of it. I remember Professor Thomas H. Schleiss exclaiming to me, "Michael, I know all the Bach." And I know all the Telemann. Even though I hate to admit it, I do know all the Telemann. Which I really never understood what that meant, but I enjoyed him saying.
We play musicals on Saturdays.
I remember Ron making a dress from plastic and looking fantastic in it. From plastic trash bags. I was very creative, and no one blinked an eye. It was like, "Oh, there's Ron in his trash bag dress." It's Tuesday morning. I remember Francesca Corkle finishing 5 pirouettes and stopping on demi point in perfect turnout like you would not believe.
And Robert DiCello, thank you.
In cowboy boots or Reeboks.
Reebok.
I remember my first partnering class being taught by the ballet mistress from American Ballet Theater, Georgina Parkinson. I remember her screaming at me while she was on demi point and passe, "Hold me up!" Okay. I remember Petrus teaching class on Saturday morning, sweating profusely. And he walks up to me and he wipes the sweat off his forehead and he goes, "Darling, it's pure Chablis." One of my favorite stories. I remember going to Chester Street with Robbie to watch episodes of Dynasty. I remember Billy Sparks could not remember the choreography for his solo. So Tom Schleiss, he was like, I don't know where we're going from. And Petrus is like, the cabriole, Billy. We're going from the cabriole. And Billy was like, I don't know where that is. And Schleiss got off the piano and went, Billy, we're going from here. Did the cabriole. Schleiss in flight. I saw it. I remember sitting in the lounge, and I've recounted this with many of you, watching the premiere of Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller. We were glued to the TV. I think we just kept all night sitting there watching that. Mesmerizing. Scotty's here. I always remember his, and I took a video of his because he's rooming with me tonight, his amazing deep demi-plie. And the way he would mock us all by going, demi-grand, demi-grand. So enormous. I remember seeing people dance at an extraordinary level for their age group.
Professionals, yeah.
I remember understanding the music of Stevie Wonder through the choreography of Andy Torres. It taught me a lot about music and rhythm and percussion and so many things. But I think what I wanted to say most here are the things that I've learned that have impacted my life, which is, and I share this with my students that I now teach because I teach adults, I learned to step before I was ready. I learned to take that leap before I thought I could do it. I learned to focus on detail. One thing I also remember, let's get to the academics. I learned I had academic instructors for the first time who didn't talk down to me, who treated me like an adult, who talked to me like a real human being, who could actually understand what they were saying and allowed me to listen to them. Camille Hardy being one of them. I loved her class. Animic formation. Animic formation, which means boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl. I learned that quality matters. I learned that one should have high standards. And I think I learned this from Petrus, that if you're going to create art, while you do it, you might as well have some fun. And finally, I'd just like to finish by saying I would not have been, and I think about this constantly, I would not have been able to have the life that I have now today. I would not be able to have had the experience, the dream, and you probably shouldn't live in the past. I think sometimes it's a bad thing to do because your memories are like a movie that you can replay in your mind over and over, and those can be good or bad memories. And I feel so fortunate that the movie I get to play back is so incredibly beautiful. I play it back all the time, and I have for years, and every time it's a real joy for me. But I would not have been able to have the opportunity because I was just a blue-collar kid from Ohio, and those high standards they were talking about, somehow I slipped through the cracks because I didn't have a lot of physical ability for this, but I would not be able to have had the life that I have without the generous support of all those board members that you spoke about, the Tryons, Mary Moore. I think about them. I think about their generosity and what an incredible gift they gave to all of us. And I do actually feel a tremendous sense of responsibility to somehow, some way, someday, pass that on and give that back to other people in some way. So thank you very much. It's been a real joy and a true pleasure to see